They see me rolling, they hating, patrolling, trying to catch me riding dirty, try to catch me riding dirty, try to catch me riding dirty. Come on here, Bosa. My boy Bosa right here. All right, get down. What is up, YouTube? So, I didn't have a video recorded for today. Hey, man, I need you to go over there, man. Go. Didn't have a video recorded today, so I decided, why not? You know, I've seen a lot of people already doing their 2024 in the bags. So I decided, why don't I just hop on the train and just show y'all what I'm throwing for, this 2024 season. There are some things that come in and out of the bag, but for the most part, my bag stays pretty much the same for the entire year, unless it's like a new mold that I want to try, and maybe sometimes it gets some reps. But I like to say these are basically what I'm doing right now, what I'm liking in the bag, and what I've had success with so far. So let's just go with the accessories on the stuff that I kind of keep in my bag. There really ain't too much that I keep. I got a Sharpie in here. I got an extra case of headphones that haven't been charged in like 3-4 months. In here I keep a little stretchy bands where I could warm up and stuff, and then I keep an extra couple minis in here, and that's pretty much it. Sometimes I'll throw a couple snacks in these pouches, but pretty much any other course that I go to, there ain't really much that's actually going inside those compartments. And honestly, my phone might drop in some of those sometimes. We got an empty water bottle. Pretty sure we have a water bottle over here too. No, we don't. We carry water bottles. Typically, I have a bad habit of not throwing them away. So sometimes they stay in my bag. Sometimes they stay in my car. And that's a different story for another time. But let's get into our putters. Oh yeah, and then also I'm using the dynamic disc. Don't know what bag this is called, but I've already had this bag for like 2 years, and it's done me pretty good so far. So I mean, there really ain't no need for me to change it up right now. I mean, I still could use it for like another year, maybe year and a half. But let's hop into our putters. So we are putting currently with the base grip P Model S's, and these things have been really good to me. I honestly just tried them out because they are a little bit more shallower in the hands. So they just feel good. Don't really need the need for something so bulky. And also putting in like really crazy winds. I don't want nothing with too much glide, to where if I just wanted to do some soft bids, that it was gonna sail past the basket, because I had a bad problem with that. So I started putting with P Model S's, and they don't have as much glide, so I gotta actually force the disc up a lot more times. But I'm much rather take that than softing something and it going past the basket. And now for our throwing putters. We currently have 4 throwing putters, and we're gonna start off with our most understable, which is this P Model S that I had already in the bag. I used to putt with it, but I just use this for like flip up dead straight shots or straight to turn shots. It all just depends on what it honestly calls for. Whatever angle I put this on, I know it's gonna flip over and get to turning. I throw it on hyzer, get it to flat, and it had like a slight drift right the entire time. So that's why this is in the bag. And now for our straighter approach disc or straighter drives, we got this Discraft Special Blend Luna. Don't really know what plastic it is in. It's like ESP kind of deal, but it's 170 to 172, so a little bit on the lighter side. But this thing I could trust inside a headwind and on like any other kind of wind to not, burn over and roll. It'll pretty much just, if we are throwing into a headwind, it will flip up and then fly pretty much dead straight the entire way. Maybe the slightest of turns, but really not too crazy understable. So just a really straight flyer. And now for what we use for our forehand and stable approach disc. We currently bag a zone for those forehands to slightly overstable approach shots. And the zone has been a staple in my bag for a very long time. I've honestly wanted to get away from it for a while. So I was trying other things that were kind of in this slot, but there's just nothing you could do without a good zone. I feel like, why try and get something from a different company? Just stick with, whoever makes the best, and Discraft makes the best. So that's why we got the zone in there. And for whenever I can't get the zone to fly, too far right, or if I don't need the zone to push very far, I reach in the bag for this first run Zone OS. Now, I was really against having the Zone OS inside the bag for a very long time, just for the fact that I never thought I needed something this beefy, but throwing the zone in some of the more crazier winds and just watching it tail left a little bit before getting back right, or even sailing past the basket too far because the zone was going too straight. I found a good use for the Zone OS where I know I could push it even hard as I can and know that it's going to get that reliable fade, and it's also going to go to a set distance. So that's really why I reach for the Zone OS. Is just if I need something probably like, I would say 200 and in, and I could actually put some power behind it, and I could throw on like a nice little flex line. I know it's not going to go past that. I'll use the Zone OS for that kind of shot. All right, now into the mid-range slot, which is kind of unorthodox, I would say. I mean, I wouldn't say it's unorthodox. It's just not traditional, I would assume. I'm not too sure how people throw their mid-ranges, or I don't know if I carry more mid-ranges than what people normally carry, but I carry 5 mid-ranges, and we're gonna go with the ones that I probably use like in similar slots just for backhand and forehand. So we got this Buzz SS that I use for backhand flip-ups and long turnover shots. This is just something, this is where like, whenever I throw this backhand, this is what I want the Buzz to do. So that's the reason why the Buzz SS is in the bag, because I felt myself reaching for this more times than not whenever I wanted the flight of a Buzz that I had in my head that the Buzz was not really flying like. So I always just told myself, just, you know, grab the Buzz SS instead of grabbing the Buzz, because you really want the flight of the Buzz SS. So that's why that's in the bag. Now we're on to the normal ESP Discraft Buzz, and I typically throw this like as like a one angle shot with the backhand. And if I want to throw this and I want the Buzz SS shot, like let's say inside like a slight headwind, then I'll reach for the Buzz for a backhand. But typically why the Buzz is in the bag and why it's made a staple in the bag is because I could kind of hammer it forehand and I could get that nice easy flip over turnover disc without it fluttering and going left. Because I typically with the forehand with the Buzz, I could flick it and I know it's going to get left. But as with these other discs, I can at least forehand this and I know it's not gonna, you know, it's torque resistant. So I'll be able to forehand this and get it to flip up no matter what, and it'll actually have a flight. So that's why this is in the bag. Big forehand disc for us. Now onto my get out of trouble or Woods disc, which is this Page Pierce Soul mid-range, and it's also a lighter disc. It's a 167 to 169, but this is just a disc where I could just put it on some hyzer, watch it flip up, and then even in some cases get it to fly all the way right too. So the reason why this is in the bag is because every single time I think something's understable, I don't really understand. It's weird to say, because like this is the flight that I want out of the Buzz SS, but I could never get the Buzz SS to do that unless I had one that was already beaten in for a while. And I never really had like a super flippy mid-range disc. All the mid-ranges I've tried, I've always tried, you know, hyzer flipping, seeing if they could get them to flat, but this disc will do it. And it's a good thing I actually sewed down on the sole, because I mean it feels good for like soft little bitty forehand approaches, something I want just to hold the entire way, or something if I just barely pop on some, you know, Annie as like a little chance to go inside the basket. It will just hold that line for a very long time, and it has the glide to get to whatever distance I want it to. But yeah, this disc rarely comes out like on the longer courses. This disc really strives whenever I'm in the woods and I want the hyzer flip disc and stuff. So yeah, another good one that goes inside the bag. Now onto our Star Rock 3, which I mean, y'all seen this disc before. Y'all seen it actually go into the basket one time. But yeah, this is super money. I gotta throw this pretty hard. No, it's never gonna just come out of it. I can get the slightest flip up out of it, but it's always gonna have that reliable fade at the end. And I like the Star Rock 3 over the regular Star Rocks, or even like a KC Pro Rock. I just like the feel of slicker plastic. I don't like the baseline or KC Pro plastic. I wouldn't say I don't like it. I just much rather have that if I want like a distance driver and like a pro plastic. And yeah, I'm not really into beating in disc. Like I much rather, I know that this disc will stay in the bag for a while, so I know that sooner or later this rock will be able to get that easy flip up to turn after, you know, using it for quite a while, because that's what I used to have a rock for. I had another Star Rock that was already getting to that point where it was already starting to hyzer flip and just fly dead straight. So these are really good. Honestly, I'm thinking about getting a Champion Rock 3 to put in the bag, so that way I know that I could trust that Star Rock 3 in any kind of headwind, any kind of left to right wind. I know it's gonna get real stable at the end. Star Rocks are typically a lot more straight, or a little more straighter than the Champ Rocks. I'm assuming, never threw one, but that's probably another disc that we'll probably end up putting in the bag. Now on to our last and final mid-range. It's our Neutron Plastic Runway from Streamline Disc. And this honestly is just a forehand disc. I know I could pop it on some hyzer, get it to flip up slightly, fly pretty straight relatively for quite a while, and I know it's gonna have that reliable finish at the end. Now this is not rivaling the Justice in any way, but I just had trust issues too many times with the Justice to where sometimes it'll be the most overstable thing and sometimes it'll be the most like it will be a lot straighter. So the reason why the runway is inside the bag is because I know it's gonna get that hyzer flip no matter what. So if I need something, you know, that I know I can hammer on a forehand, get it to go straight for a little bit, and then get some extra distance and go right. This is what I'm also leaning in towards. But also, if I want to hammer something on a backhand, this thing is not budging on a backhand. Doesn't matter how much turn I put on it, it's really stable on a backhand. So that's why I was kind of like surprised whenever it did flip up super, like, or not super easy, but putting some power behind it with the forehand. That's why I was kind of surprised with it flipping up. But yeah, really sick disc. If y'all haven't tried out the Runway from Streamline Disc, y'all make sure y'all check it out. Now into the part of my game where honestly it's just throw it up there. Like whatever disc I'm feeling right now, or whatever disc I'm feeling in this slot, honestly a lot of discs are coming in and cycling in and out with this fairway slot. But there are some staples that are going to stay here for a while. And let's just start off with the slower speeds and then we'll work our way up to the higher speeds. So first one that has been in the bag for a little while, we got some like ketchup or something on there. I don't know what that is, but it's this Champion Leopard. Now this thing is super money whenever I need something just to go a little bit farther than any mid-ranges that I have, but that isn't quite that, you know, long distance or fairway driver length. So with a Champion Leopard, if I throw it softly, I can get it to flip up flat, fly straight, and then just hyzer out just a little bit. But if I really want to power up on this thing, I can get it to hyzer flip, hold the entire way, and then just land pretty much straight if I wanted to. So this is like really a bailout disc, honestly. And if I want to occasionally throw a roller with this, sometimes I'll throw a roller with it. But typically this is the air shot disc, and it kind of surprised me whenever I first put it in the bag. Now the next disc in the bag that kind of surprised me, and I didn't know if I needed this slot, but it's good to have in the bag now that I have it, which is a really overstable 6.5 speed or 6.7 speed, whichever one, but it's this resistor. Any shot that I feel like I need something really beefy and I don't want the flip up of the runway, I really rely on the resistor. It's just super easy to get something to go on like a one angle hyzer to get there rather than trying to finesse something, flip it up and let it go right. That's why I kind of been relying on the resistor, is something I could put. I could also hammer this flat and I know it's gonna get right. So it's really simple just to put something on like hyzer, let it just stay on hyzer, put it flat, know it's gonna get right. And if I throw this on some anhyzer, that's whenever the distance really starts coming out. But yeah, this disc is just really money. I didn't know if I needed this slot, but I mean, it's better to have it than to not have it. And this is a really good compliment to this other disc I'm about to say. So the resistor is a really good compliment to this disc. I know there's no stamp on it. It's a factory second, but it is a T-Bird. And the thing that really stuck out with the T-Bird is that it is a 7-speed, it's 7502 I believe, but I can hammer this as hard as I want and I know it's not gonna completely flip over. I could get it to probably pop up just the slightest bit and then stay left. And if I throw it flat, it'll turn, and if I put some anhyzer on it, it'll actually turn. But putting it on hyzer, I know I can hammer it and I could trust this in some headwind. So I'll say it's a good compliment to the resistor just for the fact that if something's like out of resistor distance, I know I could reach for the T-Bird and I know it's gonna get that distance super easy. No matter how hard or how soft I throw it, it's always gonna have the exact same flight. And something that you really don't realize inside your bag that you need is consistency. Something that you know it's gonna do the same thing over and over again. And I feel like the T-Bird is pretty much that. I could forehand the T-Bird, I could backhand the T-Bird, I could roll the T-Bird, I could do everything with the T-Bird. So I would say honestly the T-Bird is probably the best disc, even though I don't throw a lot, but it's probably the most useful disc in my bag right now. Alrighty, now we're stepping up into the big boys, the 9-speed. So to start it off, we're gonna go most understable, which is this Ben Callaway Tour Series Undertaker. I believe this is the 2023 or 2022 series, not too sure, but this thing is so sick. The color on it the flight of it. The thing about the Undertaker is I've tried Undertakers in the past, but I never really actually gave the Undertaker a good chance because I didn't, back then whenever I was throwing them, I never really had the arm speed to actually throw the Undertaker like how they're supposed to be thrown. But these things go far, and they also aren't uselessly understable. So with this Undertaker, I know I can get it to hyzer flip, fly dead straight, and then if I throw it flat, it'll get some turn off right. And yeah, it's just gonna hold every single angle while getting the distance as well. The only thing I haven't really tried with the Undertaker is actually rolling it. So I don't think I'll be doing that because I got another disc that typically does really good on rollers. But yeah, the only thing that this won't be good in is headwinds. I took this out to crush on the Contro this year, and this was honestly the disc that I couldn't rely on the most because of how much turn it was getting in the wind. So that's what kind of made me put some of these other discs out of the bag. But it's still good to go out and throw Undertaker. It's good for those late flip shots that, you know, I'm super good at, if you know me. Also a good forehander as well. Alrighty, now we're on to this Thunderbird with the Thunderbird stamp from Infinite Disc. And this is just this notch up from the Undertaker, where I know I could put this on some hyzer, get it to flip up the slightest, fly straight, and then have a nice reliable finish at the end. And if I throw it flat, it's never gonna actually turn over crazy. It will probably have the slightest turnover, and I know it's gonna get the fade left. Really good forehand disc as well if I want that extra distance. But typically I just like this to put on some hyzers that I need some, you know, like 400, maybe 380, just spike hyzers. I'm leaning really big into the Thunderbird for those kinds of shots. And now you can't have a Thunderbird in your bag without having a Firebird. What can I say more about the Firebird? This is honestly not the only Firebird I'm gonna have in my bag. I do need to order me a Champ Firebird because those things are super beefy and I need that kind of stability in my life. But this Star Firebird has been super good for us. It's honestly been surprising on how much distance and overstability this could get. Whenever I first got it, my first introductions to Firebirds was a factory second Champion Firebird, where if I put it on a knife angle, it's still gonna come out of that knife angle. So whenever I picked up this Firebird and I started throwing it on some backhand hyzers, watching it just get the distance easily and staying on that hyzer and fighting the wind as well, it's something I just could not get out of my head. So that's why the Firebird's in the bag. Even with forehands, I could pop it with some good forehand power. In a headwind, I could just watch it just flip up the slightest, fly straight, and then know it's gonna get back right with no, you know, with no hesitation. So nice, reliable, overstable Firebird is in the bag. Everybody knows what a Firebird does. Everybody loves the Firebird. Everything wants to be the Firebird. So that's why that's in the bag. Now on to my last fairway, which is the Avenger SS. And let me know in the comment section down below, do y'all consider 10 speeds fairways or distance drivers? This has a rim of a fairway, so that's why I kind of put it in the fairway slot. But there's nothing more to be said about the Avenger SS. It's just understable. You can put it on some hyzer, it'll even flip to get down to a roller. But whenever you do put this on a roller angle, this thing does like to roll. So beware, before y'all buy this, just know that y'all get some crazy distance with it. Because I think in the field work that I just put over this, I probably pulled like a good 500 just on a straight roller angle, and it never actually got out of the roller angle. So that was crazy. So once it starts beating in a little bit and I can start getting it to get on that angle, roll, and then at the end get that last little bit with the getting on its back, then this thing is gonna get some crazy distance. And living in Lubbock, you don't really see rollers, but whenever you do have that nice calm wind or a helping wind out to get the roller down, this is probably the disc that you need. Now on to the big boys. We're gonna start off with the slower discs. Oh man, I'm dropping these things. So we're gonna go with the slowest one of them all, which is this Clash Disc Wild Honey. And this is probably the most of like crazy disc that I have in my bag, because honestly I don't know why it's in the bag, but sometimes whenever I throw it, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I have that disc in the bag. It's an easy disc to put on like a nice little roller angle, but then also if you have a crazy tailwind, I could pop this on some hyzer, watch it get up flat, get some turn, and have some crazy distance. I probably had some of my longest throws on the course with this disc whenever I have a helping wind. But other than that, whenever I don't have a crazy wind, I'm probably not reaching for this disc. And there's only certain occasions where this disc does actually come out of the bag to get thrown. But you always want a utility disc inside your bag, no matter what your situation is. Now to our next utility disc, which is this Bonanza stamped Conqueror. And I've been looking for some beef, and this is pretty much what beef could get you. I've had some other discs that I've wanted to try out in this slot, but the combination of overstability plus distance, that's really what I kind of want to model my game after. It's stuff I know I can hammer pretty hard and know that it's gonna at least go a certain distance, and then also never gonna flip out of the angle that I have. And this disc honestly pretty much does that. Like if I wanted to, I could put it on some crazy flex lines. It's never gonna come out of it. I'm pretty sure I've had a couple shots where I've wanted to throw this into a headwind on like a nice little flex line with the forehand, and I've accomplished that plenty of times, or even relying on it on a flex backhand in the headwind, making sure I keep the nose angle down. I could kind of just force the anhyzer into the ground and know it's gonna get out of it. So that's why the Conqueror's in the bag. Now, our longest disc that we've thrown, or the furthest disc that we possibly had inside our bag forever now, which is this gold ballista from Latitude 64. This thing bombs. If y'all have like a slower arm speed, or even if y'all have like a medium to great arm speed, I recommend a ballista. In a tailwind, in a right to left wind, no matter what, or as long as you have a helping wind, y'all need to reach for the ballista. Not the Ballista Pro, the regular ballista. Starting out, whenever I first got it, it was the most easiest hyzer flip disc that I've probably had in a long time. But then once it started getting beaten in, it's like it's added more glide into the flight. So with a crazy right to left one, I get this to pop up, hold straight for a very long time, even get some turn out of it, and then it crashes left. Easy, effortless distance. And then inside a tailwind, you could throw this on crazy anhyzer and it's just gonna go far. That's the reason why the ballista is in the bag. This thing is getting a little bit too understable, so this might actually replace the honey sooner or later. Then we might throw another ballista inside the bag, probably in like a more see-through plastic, because I kind of want to see what this flies like in different plastics. Now on to our last two nukes, or last two discs in our distance slot, which is the ESP and the Z-line nuke. Now both these nukes serve different purposes. First of all, this ESP nuke is 170 to 172. So typically I got this without knowing the weight on it, so that's pretty much bad on my part. But I typically like my nukes in heavier plastics, but I realized if I have this one already inside a lighter plastic, I'm just gonna let this one beat in a little bit to where I can get that effortless hyzer flip to turn disc out of this. So that's why this is inside the bag for right now, until I get it beaten into a nice desirable flight. And then now with the Z-line nuke. This nuke is some beef, man. I could throw this into a headwind and know I could trust it. It's never gonna budge off any crazy hyzer. So typically I like to throw this with some anhyzer whenever I typically throw it, but this is mostly used for forehands. I could just throw some turn on it, know that it's gonna get back right, and it's also not gonna go very far, but it's also just a comfortable feel. That's something that I am big on, is just feel. So even though we do have the Conqueror is if I want that distance. But if I don't feel comfortable with throwing the Conqueror, then I'll just reach for the nuke and then just know that I know it's gonna get out of my hand real nicely. But then also if I just want like a big old spike hyzer and I don't need a crazy amount of distance, I could reach for the nuke in any kind of wind and know that it's just gonna get straight to the ground. Or the Z-line nuke and know it's gonna go straight to the ground. So yeah, that's it for the end of the bag. I'm probably gonna put some like overlay of me throwing some of these discs. I'm not probably gonna do it. I am gonna do it because I already recorded it. But yeah, this video was just made on a whim because I mean I didn't have nothing else recorded. I had a video I went to go film a video yesterday, but kind of pulled something in my lower back on my left side. So I just told myself to just keep it easy. Don't try to overdo anything for, you know, some crazy content. Just take a smooth, light, you know, chill day. Go throw some discs today and then yeah, put out it in the bag because, you know, those seem to be real popular right now. But if there's anything that y'all are throwing that I have inside the bag, y'all let me know in the comment section down below, and how similar are our bags, or is my bag just completely just, you know, a cluster of a mess. And also, y'all let me know y'all suggestions for fairways because I'm always up to that. And also suggestions for overstable mid-ranges, because I did say the runway was good, but I'm looking for something that's just a little bit more overstable than that. Not the Justice though, definitely not the Justice. But yeah, that's all that's inside the bag. And if y'all want to see more videos like this, or more videos of me breaking down certain discs, then y'all let me know in the comment section down below. And I also did this so that way I could stop, you know, telling y'all what I'm throwing at the beginning of the video. It's gonna be a hard transition, but hopefully it results into our videos getting out more quicker and our videos not, our video duration not lasting as long. But yeah, if y'all enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe, comment down anything that you'd like to comment down. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget to share the video. I feel like I just keep on going over in circles and circles and circles again. Alrighty, well, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.